When I was a junior in high school, I experienced grief for the first time. It was my own father's. I knew experiencing grief for the first time was going to be difficult, and I had learned about the grief cycle that I have here and how difficult it is to get through the whole thing. Little did I know experiencing grief for the first time would be extremely difficult, but I learned how difficult it is to be experiencing grief and still trying to go to school. When I was in school, it was really hard for me to focus because when you experience trauma, when you experience something kind of life-changing, being in an automobile accident or seeing someone pass away or anything like that, until you work it out with a licensed professional or you talk through it, it's going to replay in your frontal lobe like a movie. And so the rest of my junior year in high school and further than that, I had that movie replaying in my head over and over again of my dad's death. And the only way I knew how to make it stop was for me to sleep. So that's what I did. I started sleeping through all my classes because I couldn't stand to be awake and continue to see that movie over and over again. Some of my teachers decided to push me really hard, harder than I was okay with. Some of my teachers completely let me slack off, not knowing how to handle me, not knowing what to do with me, just kind of passing me through, letting me do as I wish. And the other teachers loaded on all the work, tried to push me, tried to tell me I was better than this. A lot of my teachers asked questions that I wasn't okay with, questions that seemed all too personal to be sharing with the teacher. Questions like, how does it feel to have a parent? What happened? How did he pass? They'd say things like, well, at least he's in a better place now, things like that. And I thought those were all too personal for them to be asking me. But secondly, they didn't know my father, and it would just anger me that they would talk like that. So I would lash out in anger because, of course, that's one of the stages in the grief cycle and ended up getting me in more trouble. This is something that has to change. According to the Coalition to Support Grieving Students, loss is extremely common in childhood. 9 out of 10 students will experience the loss of a close family member or friend. 1 in 20 students will experience the loss of a parent. But what's really crazy about that is when teachers were asked if they had ever had any training for students dealing with grief, 93% of them said that they had never had any training and wouldn't know how to handle the situation. This has got to change. I know for a fact Glenn County school system does not have any effects in place to help train teachers and how to deal with students in grief. I, for one, was a part of that school system and didn't receive any help at all and had teachers who were not trained. The change has to be made because I don't want any student to ever go through what I had to go through with not feeling understood or heard in school. It's extremely important that we find a way to start educating our teachers. Glenn County spends plenty of money each year sending teachers off to conferences in Atlanta and other places so they can learn how to teach students in different ways and new concepts and things like that. And there's no reason that we can't take the money, some of the money we spend on that, and take it and put it to good use by training these teachers, putting them in a conference and having trained professionals as if licensed therapists, student testimonies, grief counselors, some of our higher people in the Board of Education to come up there and teach these teachers so they can go back and they don't feel so cramped and not know what to do when a student comes in there that's just lost somebody they loved. And this is so prevalent. I mean, kids are not going to stop losing people they love. Kids are not going to stop coming to school with grief hanging heavy on their shoulders. This is something that's always going to happen. I know my senior year, we lost 2 fellow students of my class, and the senior year before me also lost 2 students. And it changed. The whole demeanor of the school changed. But, they called in grief counselors and other counselors from school to come in when that happened, but you gotta think about the silent students, the students whose parent died and nobody knows. Nobody helps them. They feel unheard and misunderstood. And so I think it's extremely important that we all take a step together to to fight for something that we should all believe in, something that's so important, something that could help change the life of a student and help make them go through this horrible transition that it is better, and that we should all agree that something has to change within our school systems so that our students don't struggle. Thank y'all.